All right, everybody, back with another episode of Interview with an American Hammer. Full disclaimer, James isn't American, but we've also interviewed people from Australia and Germany and, New Zealand, all over the world. But he's in a time zone that's much closer than England, so that works for me. James, from the Anvil. Yeah, man, you want to plug your YouTube channel and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, okay. So my channel is From the Anvil, West Ham United. That, as the name here is. I'm originally from the United Kingdom, but for the last 7 years, I've actually lived in North America, not in the United States, but in the massive country up north that is Canada, where it's a little bit colder and everyone lives off of donuts, craft dinner, and poutine. I've been there for 7 years now. I've been educated in Canada. I went to university here. I've really enjoyed my time living here. And in the time I've been here, I've really integrated myself with American sport and culture, notably hockey, given that where I live. And I'm also, as you can tell, West Ham United fan, having been supporting the club since the age of 10. I do my own YouTube channel, obviously, where I report on West Ham content. I've been on loads of podcasts. I've written for a professional hockey website as well in that time. I went to journalism school over here and I've written professionally for blogs. And I'm pursuing a career in sports writing. So, yeah, I've got a lot going on my plate right now that's happened in the last few years.
So being in Alberta, which club do you support in hockey?
Oilers.
Nice.
Yeah, I used to work at the arena, actually, when it first opened.
Nice. That's cool, man. Yeah, we have a lot of hockey fans that are in the American Hammers TV crew. So
yeah, like Lee.
Yeah, Lee. Yeah. Well, again, so this is how it works, man. Once we interview you, you're more than welcome to pop on these panels and jump on other shows.
Oh, sure.
We do plenty of those. But yeah, you will get you on with Lee sometime, and just be prepared to block off a large window of time, because his shows tend to run about 3 hours sometimes. Yeah, it looks like Wally's in the chat already. I love Wally. He's a massive supporter.
Yes.
If it wasn't for him, this channel wouldn't even be here today. So love you, Wally. And yeah, as people pop in, we'll pull up the comments. Yeah, so how did you become a supporter? So was it where you were located in London and growing up, or was it your dad or a family, or what?
It's none of that, actually. No one in my family actually supports West Ham or has any connection to the club. I actually grew up 2.5 hours north of London. So, but that is the case with a lot of fans, actually. I'll give another example to that. There's a lot of Manchester United fans all around the world who aren't even from Manchester. Well, it's probably not the strongest example because most of them literally probably live 5 minutes away from London Stadium. But I supported West Ham following the Carlos Tevez saga. I remember being 9-10 years old and in my dad's living room watching the West Ham Spurs game, the 4-3 defeat at the Bowling Ground, and remember Tevez smacking in the free kick. Well, he didn't smack it in, but for a free kick that went off the bar and in for his first goal at West Ham. Just from that point onward, I took an interest in West Ham for no other particular reason than that. Just as well, I think it's the club chose me in a way as well. I think it's a club that's not, pop. I wouldn't say it was like a go-to club to support. It's not like a Man United or Liverpool. It's not like a bandwagon team or a glory hunter team. It's someone who, it's like a team that you feel a real connection to, because they've been through tough times, obviously last years, but everyone stuck through the club, and that's another thing as well. It's a very tight-knit community. It's a fan base. It's a tight-knit football club, and everybody, really, other fans around land don't really have anything bad to say about it as well. So it's all those factors.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, like, everybody that we've asked this question to, which we always do, like every single interview that we do, how on earth did you become a West Ham supporter? Whether or not we actually interview people from the UK or not, it's always awesome to hear the different stories. Everybody usually has a different story. There's been actually quite a few people from the UK that weren't like, "Oh, I was born into it." There's quite a few other stories like that.
Yeah, right.
And like some people born in Swindon, you know what I mean? But, they supported Swindon growing up, but yet, I mean, their family did, but yet they wanted to support, West Ham because of the, the club itself, like the supporters, the atmosphere, obviously the bowling at the time. But anyway, I mean, there's just awesome stories. I love hearing them. I mean, we all do. And, but yeah, it's a club, like you said, that it finds you, right? I mean, to me, I mean, it kept popping up like in my face, and and then all of a sudden it clicked. I'm like, this is my club, and then I became literally obsessed. And that, like many other West Ham supporters here in America, once we've fall in love with the club and learn more about the club and the club's history and the goods, the bads, the ups, the downs, whatever, it just feels right. Whether or not we there's a lot of people in America who discovered West Ham through Green Street Hooligans, the movie, or even earlier than that. Everything from The Simpsons to the IT Crowd to pop culture type stuff that subliminally just popped in our heads. Or some people were like, you know what, I was at that MLS All-Star game, in 08, I think it was, or 08, 09, or it's somewhere around there, that West Ham came over and played the All-Stars of Major League Soccer, and they're like, I was hooked ever since watching that club. A lot of cool stories, man. I think what Stuart was referring to, as he said jokingly with his emojis, he said glory hunter. I think it's just saying that, because we're so massive now.
Yeah, we are massive.
I think that's what it is. So any new hammers, I mean, they're glory hunters, right? No.
Nah. They probably picked a good time to support the club, though.
Oh yeah, listen, the most miserable times of my life have been supporting West Ham, especially under Pellegrini. I think that was the absolute worst, and that's when we started this channel. It was January of 2019, that summer window. No, that January window, and we signed Masaki Ju, like that was our signing. Oh, and then making the loan. What was it? Who's the guy from Arsenal's, and also
Nasri.
Yeah. So those two, that was our big window. You know what I mean? And that was our start. That was our first episode ever. Was that transfer story? That was so horrible. But look, see, we got there's our buddy from Ghana who always pops in. There you go.
Never ever will I forgive Pellegrini for starting Roberto and playing Zabaleta against Maximan. Those two things were absolutely criminal war crimes.
Yes, yeah. He says, I was better at FIFA 97 than my friends, so I would beat their 5-star teams with West Ham United. Yeah, that's how I became a West Ham fan. So, and I've referenced this before,
it's a unique one.
It was I had a Mac. I didn't have a PC, and the only sports game that wasn't like for children, you know what I mean, was Football Manager. And at the time, I think it was the 2010 one. We were in the Premier League, and I was trying to find a team that would beat the Manchester Uniteds and beat these other teams. Similar story, yeah. And it was that I saw the crest and the colors, and I'm like, oh, that's the team from IT Crowd. That's the team from and then I just fell in love with it. But of course, we got relegated in 2010-11 season. So I started following the club full time halfway through the 10-11 season. So that was a great start. But the following season in Championship was fucking heaven. It was beautiful.
It was.
I loved it. All right. So in Canada, have you noticed any West Ham shirts, hats, anything pop up? Anybody in your area or?
Yeah. In my area, there was actually a guy who used to live next to me who was a West Ham fan. I didn't really know about him until I saw him on a bus. He was wearing a West Ham hat. I was wearing a West Ham toque/woolly hat, and had the West Ham logo on it. And he just did the logo as he was walking off the bus. When I was in Vancouver, I saw there's a West Ham fan base actually in downtown Vancouver. I couldn't find it because the city's too big. I didn't know how to get around the place that much, but I need to find it next time I go back there. I think it's in Burnaby or somewhere like that. Actually, it's probably within the outskirts of downtown Vancouver. Seen a few West Ham fans in Edmonton, saw one in Calgary. So those three major cities. And there is the nearest West Ham fan base to me is in Vancouver anyway, but it's like one province away. I need to find it.
Yeah, Toronto has a massive one, but that's
for sure.
That's closer to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I would love to visit them someday. But listen, there's got to be more. I mean, there really has. And that was the thing I was telling Lee when we started this channel. Like he was thinking that there wasn't really many West Ham supporters here in the States, or they were just too spread out. But what we learned was that no, there was a lot. Some of them just don't have social media pages, or maybe some of the individuals do, but not the groups themselves. So it was a little tricky finding a lot of these, but no, there's got to be some fucking West Ham supporters in Saskatchewan or something, you know, or
there is. I've spoken to one.
Well, there's got to be, yeah, but where there's one, it's like mice, man. Where there's one, man, there's got to be a shitload more. There's got to be. I don't know.
Yeah, it's trickle down effect.
Well, hopefully, we'll find them, and I know there's some in Halifax for sure. And again, that's
East
further away
Coast.
from you. Yeah, but close to me or closer anyway. Yeah, man. So, what about this? This weird little rough patch that we had then leading into Chelsea, and then all of a sudden we played a phenomenal game. I guess we played okay against Brighton, but I don't know, man. That Wolves match really scared me. You know what I mean? That kind of the form, you know, just how they played in that match felt like, oh shit, here we go. Are you worried at all, or do you think that the Chelsea match is more of who we are right now?
Well, that we did have a very tough December in general. I think we last season did struggle in December as well. That was one period where I think we won one game, we drew quite a few. We also played Brighton in December last year and drew with them as well. So don't forget, that's also another thing to take into account. December's always been a tough month for us because it's getting to the halfway point in the season. We tend to be probably a bit more run down, not at least some players more than most. But having said that, though, the Wolves game was a tough one because they're a very good team. They're very well organised. They've got a good infrastructure. They've got good strikers. Obviously, Raul Jimenez is back from his very catastrophic injury, and he's now back to full fitness again. The Manchester City game, I didn't expect much from that because they are a world-class team, and they often do a lot of teams over. Not saying they did us over as such, but that Man City game was a turning point for me where I thought, right, you know, Moyes talks about having competition in this team, yet he doesn't use that. So I think what we have to now do is maybe mix and match because, like, you see it like in the NHL, the coaches mix the lines up all the time for different teams, and David Moyes wouldn't do that for different teams in the Premier League, and we got sussed out quite easily. A couple of teams have sussed us out already. Brentford sussed us out. Brighton even sussed us out. I don't know what it is with Brighton to answer that part, but like the fact that they were down to 10 men and they still had 2/3 of the possession was unacceptable, really. And every time we play Brighton, it seems like we're very lackluster.
Yeah,
we're very switched off, and we let them come into us. We're just a charity case club to them. I mean, they are on a winless run. They needed some points. We gave them points. Neil Maupay hasn't scored in 7 games prior to that. We give him a goal.
Yeah.
The Chelsea game was one that made me nervous because I'm thinking it's going to be 4 games without a win. But it just shows like a very strange trait with West Ham, because like we can't do over some team in the bottom half of the table, yet we'll do someone who's near the top. I mean, not to discredit that, but I don't understand that. But the Chelsea win was very important for us because we needed it. It's against a team actually that we have a good history against. So little blip, minor setbacks seem to be having a bit of a major comeback in the way.
It's just there's 2 things that you mentioned, but it drives me mental that, like, I guess it's us always struggling against Brighton, right? But yet they don't always have the same coaches or players, or neither do we. So why it shouldn't matter that we statistically speaking we always struggle against a club because, well, our players are different. And then the other thing was Man City. Like, we fucking beat Liverpool. We outclassed Liverpool. Why can't we outclass Man City? You know what I'm saying? Like that's again, like I'm not asking you personally. I'm just saying, like, just in general. And that seems to be like the West Ham, supporters mentality of, like, I mean, generally is that, it's just same old West Ham. Well, this is the West Ham way. We beat the big clubs sometimes, and then we lose the shitty clubs, which is the issues for Brighton. Whereas, even Wolves, like you were talking about, they're very well organized, very well structured. Well, they were under Santo, and then they had a new manager, and they struggled. Like, they struggled or he struggled to fit in with them, or they struggled to fit in with him. But now they're obviously, I guess they're now starting to understand what the hell they're doing. They are okay, yes, but they're still Wolves. They're not fucking Liverpool. You know what I mean? No. We should have fucking turned them over, man. You know what I mean? Look, like, compared to what we've done this year and last year, but especially this year, like compared to what we've done to these European clubs, that some of them probably would have fucking smoked Wolves, or you know, they wouldn't have beaten City, obviously. But I don't know, man. It's one of those where
it's baffling.
Yeah, overall, it's baffling. Yeah, so Neil from Australia, love Neil. He's like fucking 4:41 a.m. his time, and he's watching. No struggle against Chelsea. How good is Masuaku? Yeah, dude, absolutely, man. That was
had a good game.
So, question: cross or shot? That seems to be like the hot question.
I don't care.
What did it look like to you, though? Like, what did it look like?
Cross.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dodgy cross.
The way it bent backwards, almost. You know, a little.
Yeah. Bit, right.
You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. So for everybody tuning in, I just noticed that James posted the link to his channel. Please subscribe to his channel. I mean, just like we love talking to people who have other podcasts or other YouTube shows. And yeah, please, like we're one massive family, so please support James. You know, I've recently caught up to you. I honest to God, like I follow you on Twitter, but I didn't realize that you had a YouTube channel, to be honest with you. So I've just been trying to catch up, and there's quite a few episodes, but I did watch the last 3 within the last 2 days. So yeah, really good stuff. And yeah, please everybody like and subscribe to his channel and follow him on Twitter too. I guess he's also on Instagram with the same handle. So yeah, do that. Lucas is one of our hosts of one of our panel shows, actually a couple of shows. Lucas is just awesome. What's going on, Lucas? Yeah. Glad you're popping in. Scott says it's cross for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, either way.
Yeah, you know, is what it is. But you know, Rocco's the king, man. So I don't know. I say shot, whatever. Yeah, and here's another thing that we really haven't talked about on our channel at all, but I kind of touched on it one of my last shows that I did with one of the American interviews I did, but I was asking them, hey, do you follow Championship at all? Do you follow any of the other leagues in England? Mainly because, and they asked me, well, not really, but why? And I'm like, well, I follow what the hell Millwall's doing. And I don't know if you watched that match against Birmingham City. They fucking smoked their ass. Now they're like within a couple points of the playoff places. Millwall. Like, how awesome would that be to like relegate them next year? You know what I'm saying? Like, I would love Millwall to come up so that we could fucking relegate their ass. You know.
I'll tell you who wouldn't want Millwall to come up. Metropolitan Police. That's simple. They'd have a horrible time there.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but so do you follow the other leagues though? I mean, in England.
Yeah, I do. I follow Championship and League One as well, because I think Championship, we have a lot of players actually that can come up from that. That would suit West Ham, and Moyes being a domestic league person, there's people in the Championship that I do keep a note of.
Yeah.
I do scout and report videos on my channel, and there's a few Championship players that get mentioned on that. Follow some of the lower leagues in England, but most of the time, when I'm not following football/soccer, I'm following North American sports, notably the NHL, because I've been addicted to that since I came to Canada. But yeah, I follow the lower leagues in England for sure.
Okay, well, in relation to hockey, what would you think about, like you were mentioning earlier, line changes in football? Like on the fly line changes, like
like they do in hockey, where they
jump off the bench. Like
no, because
ins and outs.
We have to remember with hockey is they've got about 40 pounds worth of gear on them as well.
Yeah,
and difference, and they're not skating up and down the ice. Unlike Conor McDavid, who can last about 10 minutes on the ice without getting tired because he's a machine. But you look at players in the NHL, they've got to wear a load of padding, and there's different situations like penalty kills, power plays.
Yeah.
Football doesn't necessarily have that. There's not going to be a situation where a player goes into the box for tackling and then he comes back on after 2 minutes. It will just ruin the integrity of the sport. So just keep the substitutions and it is as it is.
Yeah. Well, so we have I don't know how it is in the other states, but here in Massachusetts, we have a state league. We have multiple state leagues, but they're adult men's leagues. I guess you call them Sunday leagues, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're structured. They have and there's actually one with promotion relegation, which is kind of cool. That's always fun. which they don't do here in the States. But one of the things that they did that I didn't like, because we actually had a team in. I used to own a semi-pro team, and then one of our reserve teams played in that league. They did the whole, yes, you can do multiple subs in each half. So basically, you can sub someone out, and then in the second half, they can come back in, and you can have up to like 5 subs per half. And it was fucking bizarre.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But it reminded me a little bit of hockey, where like, you could definitely, keep everybody fresh, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
But it didn't really matter on the pitch. It didn't really make a difference. I mean, the scores were still the same. You know what I mean? There wasn't any 13-8s. You know what I mean? Or 24-6. I mean, it was still low scoring games for the most part. But I thought that was kind of weird. But it wasn't quite what they do in hockey. But it was multiple. So I guess I'm not sure. I think there might be a division in college. Like, I don't know if it's junior college or if it's Division III in college, where they do like, yes, you can have like 3 subs, but yes, they can come back in the second half. Like, your starter can come back in the second half, or some bullshit.
No, it doesn't bother me.
See, Scott said that himself. Yeah, that sub sounds like college rules. See, I'm not sure if it's Division I, Scott, but yeah, man, really weird, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't think they do that even in the non-leagues. You know what I'm saying? In England, you know what I'm saying? Or even Sunday leagues don't even do that shit.
No, so. it stays the same.
Yeah. All right, man. So what else is there? I saw that you've also done some stuff for Green Street Hammers, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. We've had them on. They're great people. We've had 2 of them on before, and actually, Jeremiah. Yeah.
He used to be on it. He's now quit.
Yeah. He was probably the first one that we had on. We had him on multiple times, and then the dude from Toronto we had on. Is he from Toronto? I think he's from Toronto.
I think his dad's from there.
Yeah.
He's British, but I think his dad's Canadian.
Okay. Yeah. So we've had him on before too, and good stuff. So ultimately, what is your goal? Is your goal TV or radio, or just
TV
or paper, or not paper?
TV, and that's not even hard to think about, because I did a program where you could either choose a TV major or a radio major, and radio, in all honesty, as much as people wish to argue the toss on this, it is a dying out industry in a way, because nobody's tuning in to listen to music or watch games anymore. With Spotify and our streaming services, people can just listen to it when the thing drops at midnight. The song drops at midnight is what I'll try to say, and rather than tuning in at a specific time. Television's always going to be there. Everyone's going to watch stuff like YouTube right now. Even is a good example. People are going to watch TV. People are going to watch movies still. So, and I'm not exactly good on radio. I mean, I'm too outgoing for it. I don't have the face for radio. Before anyone asks that, I just don't have the face for it. I don't have the personality for radio. I'm a TV person. I love being in front of a camera. I love having that attention on me, and I just love putting on it all. And when I was at college, I did a lot of sports events. I even got to film hockey games, do work for the Edmonton Oil Kings, the B team of the Edmonton Oilers, and interview a few players from there. And even work for a junior level hockey team, some of whom the players have now play for Division I colleges.
Oh yeah.
And so that's something quite unique in itself as well. So yeah, to answer that, just I want to be on TV, but also do written work as well, because they coincide with each other.
Well, I'm glad you're pursuing what you love, man. That's awesome to hear. A lot of people, especially here in the States, or even in the UK, that we've talked to, like, they're not. They're just doing what they have to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or supposedly have to do, but they're not like pursuing their dreams. So that's cool, man. I'm glad to hear that. Anybody have any questions in the chat? Please feel free, because it's almost about that. It's almost about that time where we're going to start doing some of our own questions. But yeah, if anybody has, we're going to spend like the next 10 minutes doing your questions for James, if you have any. But yeah, so I have one, or actually I have more than one. Before we get into all that rapid fire,
okay.
Have you ever been to the Bowl-In? Yes.
Yes.
So what's the last match you saw at the Bowl-In personally, like there?
It was West Ham versus Hull in 2010.
In 2010. Okay, cool. Right on. And have you been to the London Stadium yet?
I haven't, no, but that is on the list.
Yeah. So I never went. Yeah, I never went to the Bowling, but I've been to
Yeah.
London Stadium for 4 matches, and yeah, that was amazing. And if you do go to Carpenter's Arms, man, before the match.
Okay.
That is
Noted.
the fucking place. Like, there's other places. Trust me. I mean, there's other places, but like Carpenter's is just like that small pub, but with massive atmosphere. And there's outside too. There's like patio and everything else, and they get the whole place jumping with the DJ. It's just fucking phenomenal. And there's an American Hammer scarf, American Hammer's TV scarf hanging over the bar. So that's really cool. Great people there. Highly recommend that.
Representing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. So, have you gone to any Major League Soccer matches? One second. All right. Can you hear me? Is this me? All right, people in the chat, quickly. Is it me? It's probably me. All right. All right. Cool. All right. So, I forgot what I asked.
What's going on?
Can you hear me, dude? James. All right. Awesome. Can you hear me, man?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Why does this always happen when I'm on the show? Like, this doesn't happen to Lee, does it? Everybody? No? Does this ever happen to Katie? Does this ever happen to Lucas? No? No, just me? All right. Well, if anybody wants to talk to me, just chat away. Type in the chat, and I'll pull up your comments and respond until we get James back. Are you here?
Yeah, I'm back now.
All right.
No problem. I'm
No,
not
no.
on my hotspot, so it's okay.
No, don't worry about it. You know, sometimes it's I can't tell when something does occur. I can't tell if it's me or if it's you, or because sometimes it is me. But I don't know. Whatever. We're good now. So, yeah, I was talking about Carpenters. So yeah, go to Carpenters, and then what else? Oh yeah, have you been to an MLS match? Like, have you gone to like Vancouver, or have you gone down?
No.
No.
Well, interestingly enough, my stepbrother works for the LA Galaxy. So when in the preseason when Arsenal came to play at LA Galaxy Stadium, I went there. They played up against, I think it was Chivas Guadalajara.
Yeah.
And Leicester played against PSG, I think, something like that.
Oh, right on.
It was in 2016. So I got to go to LA for a few days. Got to see the club, the infrastructure as well.
Yeah.
Still a good time in LA.
LA's great, man. Yeah.
It is.
Great time. And yeah, LA, I would love to see an LAFC match because I hear the atmosphere there is better than a Galaxy game just because of the stadium and the fans themselves, obviously. A little more rowdy, which I love. But yeah, we're almost at the half an hour mark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get into rapid fire questions. Let's see here. All right. So first question is, meat pie or apple pie?
Meat.
Any kind in particular?
Not really, because I actually don't really eat pie, but I'd have to choose meat pie out of those two options.
Okay. Who's your favorite current West Ham player?
Current West Ham player?
Yeah.
Jared Bowen.
That's a good one, man. Yeah. You know what's funny? I would expect to hear more him, but yeah, that's a good one, man. I guess one of our regulars, Ray Borum. I mean, he absolutely, that's his favorite player. So who frustrates you the most in the current West Ham squad?
Who frustrates me the most? Two players that come to mind are Craig Dawson and, let's say, at times, Pablo Fornals. Honestly, even though he has improved.
He has improved, but he still can be a ghost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in my eyes, I mean, sometimes I forget he's on the team sheet, but then he'll have an amazing fucking match thereafter. So would you rather have an FA Cup trophy? I mean, like basically witness. Like, would you rather have like us win the FA Cup or a top 4 finish?
That's tough. Jeez, that's a tough one. Honestly, I'll take top 4 finish.
Yeah, we're getting that more now, which is bizarre. Yeah, because when we first started doing these interviews and asking that question, almost everybody said FA Cup. But also in the beginning, we said FA Cup or top 6 finish because this was obviously before we finished in the top 6. But yeah, once we switched it over to FA Cup or top 4 finish, we've noticed that no, some people would love to. That could mean us winning the league. Technically, a top 4 finish. So, all right. So, what about West Ham? Do you love?
The actual history of the club. It's a club with an actual history. It's a club with an actual core. Rather than clubs such as have just started to succeed in the last few years or so. West Ham's had that for many decades. It's just a very gritty team. It's got a passionate fan base, and everywhere you go, people have good things to say about West Ham. Pretty much.
Yeah. So again, there's no wrong answers to these, obviously, but I'd say the majority of the people who answer that question say the fans or the fan base or just the history, the club itself, like the deep history of it and everything that we've gone through, really. All right. So what about West Ham do you hate?
GSB.
Yes, yeah, that seems to be that's the number one answer. The survey says. All right, so which team, just one, if you could just beat repeatedly over and over and over and over again, what team do you love to beat?
Spurs. That's absolutely not even hard to think about. We love doing them over.
That's a tough one, though. I mean, we've had people say Chelsea, we've had people say Tottenham, we've had people say Millwall, we've had people say whatever. I mean, I said Millwall. I'm not Millwall. I'm sorry. I said Man United because to me, it's like beating somebody who fucking matters compared to like Tottenham. Nobody gives a fucking shit about Tottenham unless you're like from England. These stupid. I don't know if you've ever met an American Tottenham supporter. They're probably one of the worst people on this fucking planet. Like they don't deserve to be on this planet. We should put them on some other planet somewhere. Ship them off to fucking Tottenham land. But but when we beat Man United, that means that we're like upsetting that many more people because there's so many Man United, like you said it before, like there's so many Man United fans in this planet all over the world. And when West Ham beats them, that fucking means more. You know what I'm saying? They're all pissed off that we beat them versus fucking Tottenham. You know what I mean? Fucking cup final. Fuck you. Fucking bastards. All right. So name a player, past or present, that epitomizes West Ham in your eyes.
Mark Noble, because he's everything about the club, born and raised in the area, supported the club all of his natural life, stuck through the club through thick and thin. There could have been times where he could have just said, screw it, I'm going elsewhere. But he stayed on because he prioritizes his club. It's helped him to grow into an adult. as well. It's been a major part of his adult life.
Yeah.
Also, players from the past, I would say players like Trevor Brooking and Billy Bonds. Obviously, Bobby Moore, Jeff Hurst as well represented West Ham very well. And just players who gave it their all for the club, who weren't there just for the money, weren't there just for the glitz and the glam, but they just worked hard for the club. And those are the kind of people that we always want at West Ham. Those are the people who are accepted at this club as well. It's the ones that get remembered.
Everyone that you mentioned seems to be, one of the answers that we get, depending on who, the age of the person we're talking to or where they're located. You know what I mean? Those are the names that always pop up. It's usually like a toss between Bonds and Noble, like mostly. But we also heard, we've heard Brooking, we've heard. Who else have we heard though? We've heard a couple other ones. We heard Julian Dix just because of his style of play, and when he wore our shirt, like he. I
don't know.
He epitomized the club. There was, there's quite a few. But yeah, that Bonds and Noble seem to be the number one answers. But this is my ultimately favorite question. This one, if you could take a time machine back to experience anything having to do with West Ham, when and where would you go?
Probably the 2012 playoff final. Just to love to be part of that because of the limbs, atmosphere.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that would just be perfect.
Oh, man. I watched that on a dodgy stream that I found on some sketchy website from Afghanistan or some shit where I couldn't even read what I was, selecting. But I just saw it looked like playoff final. And then I ended up watching it, and my internet or the connection of it was so shitty. I kept having to click off of pop-up ads to watch the fucking match on my laptop. And I'm telling you, I've never been so, but that match, I've never been so that feeling of when we won that. I mean, that was absolute. I haven't felt that since really, any match we played, but that was amazing, man. Yeah. That's actually, I think the second time a guest has said that. I think that is second, maybe a third, but yeah, most everybody says the '66 World Cup, or they say the White Horse Final, or they say the last game at the bowling.
That's probably the go-to one, I'd imagine.
Mostly, but I mean, we've heard everything. Again, there's no wrong answer. That's why we're asking you. You know what I mean? We're asking the person, their own individual. So I hope everybody enjoyed this. Now that we've spoken to James is more than welcome to come back on our other shows. So you might see more of him on American Hammers Network, American Hammers TV. Maybe popping on a show with Lee or Katie or Lucas or whoever else that we got going on. Also, I'm going to mention, check out his YouTube channel. He put the link in the comments. So check that out. But, follow him on social media. And if you guys want to buy something from our shop, please do so at ahtv.threadless.com. If you buy something having to do with one of the supporters groups in America all over the world, we have other supporters groups in there in our shop. If you buy something that has something to do with the supporters group, half of the proceeds go to them. So it could buy a round at their pub or something. You know what I mean? So just support them, help them out. And any money that this channel makes goes back into the channel. And we're going to be trying to, hopefully in the next 2 months, after the holidays, create some new designs that throw into our shop. Again, ahtv.threadless.com. We're going to try to get a website back up. But again, nobody was going there. So we felt like, why do we need a website? That feels like a dying art too, websites. Because everything's social media, right? And then lastly, you just got to mention that Lee will be back on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Look forward to that. And then Katie will be doing another Hometown Hammer with a new, West Ham supporter. Well, not new, but someone you haven't seen yet on Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then next weekend, obviously, Lucas and the gang will be back. We've got plenty of shows coming up. And if anybody wants to be a guest on any of our shows, or you want to chat with me like James did today, message us on social media, and we'd be more than happy to set something up. Just let us know where you're from, which is key because we need to know what time zone, what time difference, blah, 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 blah. But also your availability. That's huge too. Matt, I'm sorry, James. I was just seeing Matt in the chat room here.
I can do that.
Matt, good to see you, my man. And Neil, thanks for popping in. And Roy and Wally and Scott, thank you all. Is there anything else you want to mention before we go, James?
No, everybody my YouTube channel is literally the name here, from the Anvil West Ham United. Subscribe for all West Ham things. For my channel, you can get game reviews, previews as well. Before that, transfer reports, social media reactions, the works. I'm on it, the channel, actively pretty much every single day. So feel free to come on there, and don't forget to follow me on social media, which is From the Anvil WHU on Twitter and Instagram.
Yep, highly recommended. I can vouch for it because I've watched the last 3 episodes he did, and yeah, so please do that, and make sure that if you haven't already liked this video, please hit the like button, and then obviously subscribe if you haven't. We're trying to get to 2,000. It took us a while to get to 1,000, but it seems like it's taking us forever to get to 2. So I think we're over at like 1,409 at the moment. So let's go. There's definitely more than 1,000 West Ham fans in this universe. So let's go. Let's subscribe. Yeah. All right. Come on, you Irons. I'll talk to you off the air, James.
Come on, you Irons.